Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. I would like to do another one of my verbal memoirs today, if I may. I had told you earlier about being in Zwolle, Louisiana, and taking the church until they could get a pastor. When Joan and I first started evangelizing, they asked me to go take the church. So anyway, we got there and we got two little beagle puppies. Pat and Mike. Now, we love those little old dogs. And we were off up there by ourselves. Our daughter was born there, and she's 60 years old now, I guess, or more. And we had those two dogs, and we were so proud of them. But the marshal, Mr. Quentin Brandon, he wanted those dogs. He said, "Preacher, I tell you what, I got to buy those dogs." I said, "No, sir, I don't want to sell them." He said, "Preacher, I'll give you $100, $50 a piece for them." I said, "Mr. Brandon, I don't want to sell them. We don't want to sell them." Well, $100 meant that was a lot of money. And so one day I went into where Joan was, and I said, "Joan, I hate to tell you this, but we're going to have to sell Pat and Mike." "Oh," she said, "whatever you have to do." That's the way she always was. So I called Mr. Brandon on the phone, and I said, "Mr. Brandon, now listen, I'm going to sell you those dogs. But I said, I want to tell you something. There's conditions. You've got to drive straight here right now. And don't talk to me about nothing. No small talk, no nothing. I want you to get those dogs and get gone." Well, he came in, parked his squad car out front, out the back. I was on the back porch, and he handed me a $100 bill and got the dogs and carried them and put them back in the car. And I saw Pat and Mike go to the back window of that squad car, looking so pitiful, as if to say, "What have we done? Why are we being arrested?" And so as I was walking into the house with the $100, the Lord spoke to me, mightily impressed me. And of something. So I walked up to Joan and I said, "Honey, the Lord just spoke to me and said to give this money to Mr. Brady." Now, he was not Mr. He was a man in the church, but for some reason he was called Mr. Brady in another church. And so she said, "Well, whatever we got to do, we'll just do it." And so we sent him the money. Well, it wasn't too long and after that until we were through with our part of the pastoring. They got a new pastor and everything. Joan and I got back on the evangelistic field. And times were hard, pretty hard then in a way. It didn't make a whole lot. And we got broke. We were broke, flat broke. And of course, there's no credit cards. There was no nothing like that. And I was out of gas. I pulled into a service station without a dime. And all of a sudden, my brother, that was supposed to be 6 hours away, pulled in to the same service station I was in. We talked for a while. I didn't ask him for any money. I was stupid. Now I would have said, "Hey, bud, you better be loaded." But I didn't ask him for anything. And after a while, he got in his car and drove down the road. He took off. We got in our car and sat down because we didn't have nowhere else to go. No gas, no nothing. All of a sudden, I looked and I saw my brother. Tail lights come on. He stopped. And whenever he stopped, he started backing back up. And when he got to where we were, he had his wallet open. He was opening his billfold. And he pulled out a big bill and said, "Oh, yeah, see, I almost forgot. Mr. Brady, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, gave me $100 and said, if the next time you see OC, give this to him." Now, folks, you know that has to be God. I don't see how it could have been any other way. You see, God knew whenever we received the money from Mr. Brandon, God knew we was going to need it more later. And it was a fact. We did need it more later. God works in mysterious ways. His wonders, underlying wonders, to perform. It's just like the man that, the Lord told the disciples, "Go, and when you see a man with a pitcher of water, follow him, and that'll lead you up to where we're to have the Last Supper." That man was no doubt not a disciple, but God knew what time he was going to walk out into the street. And he knew just when to impress the disciples to go follow him. God is able to lead us and guide us, direct our paths. God bless you.